Syrian rebels have reportedly begun undergoing guerrilla warfare training in Kosovo. They're alleged to be using the same training camps built for the anti-Serb Kosovo Liberation Army, a group previously designated as a terrorist organisation by the United States and even the UN. Let's talk about this with Sergio Trifkovic, Foreign Affairs Editor of the US-based Chronicles magazine. He's joining us on the line from Banja Luka. Mr. Trifkovic, hi there. Just what might the Syrian opposition learn at these camps these days, do you think?
Well, first of all, I don't think they can learn much from the KLA veterans in terms of combat efficiency, because the KLA was singularly unsuccessful in its rebellion against the Serbian security forces until the NATO bombing. They started their terrorist ambushes in '97, they intensified their activities in '98, but all along it was atrocity management that they wanted. For instance, such the famous case of Račak, where the combat victims were presented as innocent civilian dead slaughtered by the Serbs. But even during the bombing, the Serbian forces maintained full control over all of the key population centers, and they even kept the roads open. It's only that the KLA came in after the Serbs started withdrawing under the terms of the ceasefire with NATO, and even then they were not engaging in combat. They were acting as marauders, ethnically cleansing non-Albanians. So the first point is that there is nothing to learn in terms of combat efficiency and in terms of actually organizing a successful guerrilla force.
Words, though, that have been associated with the KLA, assassinations, terror, bombings, is that really the kind of thing that the Syrian opposition wants to be associated with, do you think?
Well, it seems that they don't care because I understand that Ammar Abdul Hamid, one of the Syrian opposition leaders who came to Pristina and actually spoke to an AP reporter, said, "We're here to learn." Now, this should be a huge wake-up call for those Syrians who are not supportive of the opposition, especially the minorities, the Alawites, the Christians, either Orthodox or Greek Catholic, the Shiites, the Kurds, and also the moderate Sunni Muslims. Should remember that if the Syrian rebels learn from the KLA, that means there will be a bloodbath after the fall of Assad, and that there will be no room for anyone but the majority group which subscribes to its extremist credo, whether it is that of Greater Albania in Kosovo or of the Muslim Brotherhood offshoot in Syria.
And also looking back in the recent history books and trying to refer it to today and whether anything can be learned. I mean, looking back at Kosovo, a lot of people say it showed that dealing with thousands of men trained, as we've been talking about, in guerrilla warfare to fight authorities, then turns into a peacetime nightmare. I mean, one that turned Kosovo into a regional crime centre. Could the same thing happen in Syria?
Well, first of all, Kosovo is well positioned to be the crime center for the whole of Europe. It is the main distribution point for heroin. It is the main point from which various networks of people smugglers, prostitution rings, and so on reach out to Italy, to Germany, to Great Britain, and even across the Atlantic Ocean. Syria probably will not become that, but Syria will become a hotbed of Islamist extremism, because let's face it, after all the talk about great and beautiful things that a new democratic Syria will turn into, it will actually turn into another copy of post-Mubarak Egypt, where when the dust settled, all of the yuppies from Tahrir Square had disappeared and the Muslim Brotherhood emerged as by far the most popular and the most powerful group. But I would also add that what is happening in Pristina with the Syrian rebels and the KLA getting together under the auspices of the United States should be a wake-up call for third countries such as Russia, because it is obvious that the United States remains hell-bent on toppling Assad, even though it hasn't received even a fig leaf authorization from the UN Security Council. Now we see that the Security Council, with Russia and China as the opponents of the intervention, are being bypassed by the American intelligence services, which are obviously behind the arrangements that are being prepared in Kosovo.
Sergej Triskovic, Foreign Affairs Editor of the US-based Chronicles magazine, thanks ever so much for taking the time to be on RT today.